Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Gat, your host. A viewer requested a birth natal chart analysis, so that's what we're going to do. Anyone who requests a birth natal chart analysis does receive the free report. Covers all the 12 houses of astrology, because right now we're dealing with the 12 houses. Explains all of that stuff associated signs, the houses, the archangel and archangel cards, how they correspond. We do stuff with tarot cards on it as well. Mention things about the chakra. Twin flames information is on there as well, numerology, and that's a totally free report. All right, we're gonna go right in now. First house is in the 12th house. Usually when you're doing a first house in the 12th house, that means she's dealing with some things from a past life, but he's also dealing with this life. So he's already going to be on two different time frames. Alrighty. Wow, another sad. This is crazy. Because I told you these things come in batches. I just did somebody from Buffalo, New York, and it was Saturn and Leo. Not in the same house or anything, but definitely Saturn and Leo. A lot of Cancer, definitely similar. Now that chart will probably be on the spiritual channel if you want to see it. The other chart. All right. So generally speaking, when you're dealing with Saturn and Capricorn, you're dealing with possibly a person had an ego, possibly in a previous life. Now, what was unique about that chart was there were no retrograde planets. Because a lot of people say retrograde planets mean past life, but there were no retrograde planets. But it still was dealing with a lot of karmic, through the numerology, through Saturn. So 14 is the temperance card, the temperance tarot card. 14, and it has Sagittarius energy. So in his first house, which is someone like his 12th house, you're dealing with that Leo energy. And again, so he's got some closure, is what I'm trying to tell you. He's going to have some closure energy with the Leo, but it's also his ascendant. And we're going to treat it as such since they made it into the first house, but you have to be aware. And that's another reason why he has the sun in what is now in the 12th house. It says 11, but that is now in the 12th house. His first house became the first house when the creators put the ascendant and the east point in the 12th house. It became the first house. But it does have a 12th house appeal. Even putting Vesta there as well. So Leo in the 12th house would definitely be dealing with ego to a certain degree. Leo in the first house is romance, creativity, love, courageousness, boldness, maybe an ego. Children, having fun. Saturn will cause time delays. Saturn's dealing with karma. It will cause time delays. Because at some point again, Leo will blow up again. As far as being a leader, because he's a leader. But Saturn is going to slow things down, teach lessons. And what type of lesson would Saturn teach Leo? Hey, there's other people around besides you. And something I want to say, because we hear this a lot, and it's kind of hard to explain unless you're dealing with people who actually did the studying and actually did the walk. But right now we're living at a period of time where people are saying, "Hey, listen, we're outgrowing things like the Bible. Well, Jesus Christ is nice as long as you just use him for love, but not all that other stuff he was talking about, hell and all that other stuff. We've kind of outgrown that. So now if you find a person like such as myself who dedicated their whole life to it, decades of doing it, we're not just going to turn it off just because somebody says turn it off. But a lot of people really believe that. So what I'm trying to tell you, if you were Jesus Christ now, in this day and time, somebody would be telling you, hey, listen, Jesus, we don't have anything against you personally, but that stuff you're preaching, hell and all that just doesn't fit in with where we're at. So if you could just turn it down and learn how to just fit in, just love. It doesn't matter what people, it's okay. If you could just learn how to do that, Jesus, we could all get along. But if you continue with this foolish talk about judgment and you're coming in the clouds and all this foolishness, then we're gonna have to get rid of you and anything associated with that, because we're at a different place now. And a lot of people believe that. So if you're like a person like me, we're like, listen, it was prophesied 2,000 years ago this would happen. So it's not like it's nothing new to us. But I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm not changing my philosophies whatsoever. And it's not bashing anybody. My whole philosophy is I know what I believe, and that's all I'm doing. Now, what other people choose to believe, that's their business. But I can't do what I do and not mention it because I would be lying, and I'm not going to do that. So that's why I said when you get these readings, if you firmly believe something and you've proven it, don't let these people change you from what is to be the truth just because they want to do something totally different. If you want to do something totally different, that's your business. But don't push that BS my way because I know what it is. And it was funny because I was studying on that video with the other Saturn and Leo, and they said that they were talking about Uranus and Mars and Scorpio. And they were saying the last time Uranus was in Mars was the 1970s and the 1980s when people were having all kind of sex and unprotected sex and any sex you wanted it. And then even they mentioned it. They said, but right after that came the AIDS epidemic. Now you might think I took up for that. I didn't. Because I made sure everybody knew that I didn't say that. The person that wrote that website said it. And then I told you I wasn't sure where AIDS came from. I said, in fact, I heard some people say it was a conspiracy. I said, I really don't know, but if you're being factual and honest, that's when the crack came out, and that's when the AIDS, everybody was sleeping around, all kind of crack. Those are the late 70s and the early 80s. And next people are dying of AIDS. So if that is true, that should tell you right there that maybe we need to listen a little bit more to Messiah, listen a little bit more to the biblical aspect so that we don't engage in activities that could be detrimental. But people, once you start sinning, you get addicted and you start like telling people that are making good sense to shut up. And that's why the Bible gave you the example of Sodom and Gomorrah, where those angels came and said, hey, listen, we're about to destroy these cities. So instead of the people saying, oh, please don't destroy us, you're going to destroy the cities, oh, please don't destroy us, they were too busy trying to have sex with the angels. And they all lost their life. So you get a little crazy once you start thinking with the wrong heads and things like that. So that's all I'm trying to say before I get started, is that don't let somebody push their belief. Like they get mad at you if you have beliefs and they make you say like the bad guy, but they're also pushing it. They're trying to push their theology or their belief system on you. So you got to toughen up, like Messiah said, and be ready to stand firm for the Messiah, no matter what the result is, if that's what you believe. Now, if you don't believe it, nobody's telling you what not to believe. You don't believe it, do whatever you want. But just don't expect somebody like me to study, did all that for decades and know it to be true to believe anything it's not. That's all. So Saturn will help you in many different ways. And again, you have to remember your first house is a lot like your 12th house, because it was a 12th house before the creator or creators put EP and AP in there. AC and EP. Ascendant is the sun going over the horizon when you were born. That's your ascendant, your rising sign, which is Leo. The east point is the sun going over the ecliptic when you were born. And the east point is like the ego or the heart of the sun. And it's somewhat putting you in bondage with number 15, because that's Capricornian energy, which could also be an old soul. But the 15 is a devil card. And the devil card is going to try to put you in bondage. And even Saturn with that energy, maybe trying to do the same thing. And it's interesting because, which is a little scary, but your Saturn is right there with a Vesta. Now, Vesta is a priestess, but usually some people say when you see Saturn conjunct Vesta, that's a person that'll do anything to get what they want. So that's one definition of it. But also, I've seen on charts where when you see Vesta near Saturn, it's because there was some form of abuse. And now Vesta is standing up against the abuse, because she's all about the home. She's all about the family. Because if you notice, your sun sign is Cancer, which is the home and the family. Vesta is all about the home. Vesta is all about the family. And Vesta doesn't like any form of abusive energy. So she will stand up against it. And then somebody might say, well, this is kind of esoteric, because here you have number 15 with Saturn. Saturn is Satan. The number 15 card is a devil card. And that Vesta there could be the priestess of the devil. And then another thing, when you're looking at those 14s together, it could be dealing with twin flame, twin soul. Maybe there's a masculine energy that's trying to push his way. And then also, there's a feminine energy that's like the priestess, a little bit more spiritual. And then again, you have Leo energy, which is the leader. So it's a lot going on in your first house. And then a number 27 is the diplomat. And what you have going on in your first house will also be somewhat resolved in your 12th house, because you got the sun right there. So it's something that has to do with the ego, but also affects the family, because your 12th house is the family, which we will explain a little bit more as well. Also, Saturn rules Capricorn. So wherever your Capricorn is, we have to look at that to understand your first house. And we also have to go to the 10th house, because Saturn rules Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th house. The 10th house is career. So that's also being affected in your first house. And again, you have the Sagittarius energy through the number 14, which is the Temperance card. So it is being mentioned there, twin flame in your first. So my advisory would be for the first house is just make sure that if you do have any form of ego, that you're trying to bring it into subjection. It's all right to have life and have fun and be confident, but you don't want to come across as egotistical. And that's why I say, me personally, my beliefs I keep in ministry. If it came up in a conversation, I might mention a couple of things. But for the most part, I keep my belief systems to myself. Now, if I was somewhere, because I used to do ministry out here, not as much, but if I'm somewhere doing ministry, that's ministry. Now, when you hear somebody that catches offense or something, if I'm not calling nobody out, if I'm not saying nothing that's called considered, you know, degrading or whatever, maybe debasing or, if it's just a ministry and somebody just doesn't like it, like suppose I did a sermon on no premarital sex. Now, as long as I'm not pinpointing that to nobody, point nowhere, saying no crazy stuff, I can have that sermon. But nowadays, you'll have somebody that's offended because of that. There's a rapper named Daylight. Daylight said all another rapper did was say he was heterosexual, and they started boycotting him. When all he said was, "I'm heterosexual." He didn't say anything like, "Oh, I hate this," or "I'm not." No, he didn't say nothing like that. He just said, "Well, I choose to be. I'm heterosexual. I choose to be heterosexual," and he got boycotted. So that's crazy. And then these are the same people that tell you, "Oh, it be free and it's all right to have freedom of speech and respect our right." So it's going to be warfare, and that's why I said I'm going to add that spiritual aspect to it. That as long as you are trying to grow spiritually or follow the Messiah, you will be in spiritual warfare. And that's what I brought out in the last video that had Saturn in Leo. All right. Now your 11th house has now become your 12th house, and it's dealing with the sign Cancer. So now your 12th house, your first house is like your 5th house, and your 12th house is your 4th house. It's all about endings and bringing things that are kind of hidden out in the open and reckoning with them or dealing with them. So Cancer rules the 4th house. That has to do with teenage to adult education, land and property or real estate, family and ancestors, the heart, travel, property, whatever person who raised you when you were younger, that would be Imon Coeli. This is all the 4th house. And again, if you see the sun in Cancer, that could deal with a father or father type situation, because the moon in Cancer would be the mother. And also, even when you go back to your first house, that Saturn could take on a male presence, such as a father, anything in a father capacity, and possibly even an employer. So to understand your 12th house better, you would have to go to your 4th house. To understand your first house a little bit better, you would have to deal with your 5th house. Now we go to Virgo energy, which is in the 2nd house. And again, this is using the home, the service, or the healing to deal with your possessions, finances, your value system. That's your 2nd house, ruled by Taurus. Virgo is there. So now your 2nd house is going to be a lot like your 6th house because of Virgo. Now, there's your true north node and yours too. If you notice, your true north node doesn't have the aura. And anybody that doesn't have an aura on their true north node means that they have highly dysfunctional situations in this placement. And then there goes relationship. There goes the moon. And what happens is your 3rd house is all about short term. It's run by Gemini, but anything going in your third house probably is going to have a short-term situation. So that relationship is going to have short terms. And then Pluto is showing that you're going to be having ups and downs, death and rebirth situations in that relationship, and also supernatural stuff because of Pluto, but also transformation. Anytime you see the moon with Scorpio or Pluto, you're probably dealing with some form of reincarnation. You can even study that on YouTube. So again, you see the number 21 again, so it's telling you it's karmic. It's a karmic relationship, but it's dealing with the underworld. And this could be sex, this could be transformation, power. And the moon likes to hide things. But even the moon is at 17 degrees, and that would be the star card or Aquarius energy. And then you have number 3, which is Kyrus, next to the nurturer. So ironically, with all this nurturing in the moon, this third house with Gemini, um, it could be considered, it could be almost like Cancer, because the moon is in Cancer and the moon is a nurturer. That's the mother. So there's a motherly nurturing connection to your relationship in the third house ruled by Gemini. Now, if he's listening, he may find out what I just said has something to do with relatives or somebody he might have been in a relationship with. But either way, this relationship is going to have problems, and it's again karmic because of number 21. And that's the world card or Saturn energy. All right, let's continue. All right. So yeah, looking at the third house, it's going to be deep transformation because of Pluto. But remember, you also have to on a free report, you have to study the 8th house. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So the 8th house is anything from the supernatural, different sciences, the sex, lustful sex, death, birth, resurrection. So you have to really study that. Because the list is long, and it's just, if I sit here and read the list, I used to, but it's not going to apply, reading that long list doesn't apply to everybody, so it doesn't really serve a purpose to sit there and read the whole list. But either way, you got that going on in your third house and your fourth house. Your chart is very similar to that person I just did. And in that video will be on the spiritual channel. And you can just tell by the date. Today's date is like the 26th. So you'll know it was just done. And I think it has sex in his head on that video, I think. Alright, so again, true north node, karmic relationship. And it's also going to be dealing with the law. You're dealing with karma because Libra deals with karma. Libra deals with the law. Libra deals with the courthouses. Libra deals with relationships. Libra deals with business contracts. Libra deals with all open enemies and even cemeteries. So all this can be going on, especially with Pluto, because Pluto deals with all that. But it's going to be some form of could be secretive. It could be transforming. It could be highly sexual. And whenever you're dealing with the moon and Scorpio or the moon and Pluto, you're dealing with like reincarnation, souls and stuff, past lives. And whenever you're dealing with you got to be careful when you're dealing with the moon anything connected to Cancer and the moon with Scorpio or Pluto, you have to be careful because you're going to be coming under the influence. It's possible to come under the influences of wicked spirits or spirits that'll try to manipulate you or even take you over and stuff like that. You have to be careful. And this is in your house of communications, the third house. But the third house is really short, even though it's really creative with Gemini, really witty, can deal with publishing small children, the brotherhood around you, short distance travel. But when you got Libra there, it's telling you right then it's going to be kind of short, maybe death and resurrection, but it's not anything. Nothing is implying anything lasting in that third house. Going to the very next house, I guess that's the fourth house, the family, and again power struggles, and then you got Juno there too. And see now you got a Uranus retrograde, same thing. That comes out of nowhere when you have in that 7 degrees is Cancer energy, the Chariot, but that is the fourth house. That's Cancer energy. But anything it could come out of anywhere. This is the bipolar because it come out of anyone. 1 minute somebody's quiet, next minute they off the hook. You can still be dealing with different technologies when you're dealing with Uranus and Scorpio, but it's just power struggles and anything coming out of nowhere. With Uranus retrograde, this could be, in a past life, the person could have been a revolutionary or a rebel. And you have Juno there. Now, Juno's a serious relationship. So now you see 14 degrees again, which is, again, the Temperance or Sagittarius. Because Temperance brings the two together, the divine masculine, divine feminine. And that's why I'm saying this is twin flame stuff. Because you keep seeing 14, 14. You can think about what I said when I did your first house. So you see it again, 14, 14, 14. So again, this is probably some type of a Sagittarius energy as well that you may have some type of connection to. But either way, it's going to be highly, highly highly wet energy, highly power struggles, suspicions. Could still be highly sexual, but just things going out of nowhere. 1 minute I ain't with you, don't want to be with you. Next minute, oh, I can't get you out of my mind, or you know. And I know people know, you be somewhere with somebody have some great sex, and you be like, man, that sex was great. This is, I hope, it just feels so right, and you see that person again, and they acting like, you know what I'm saying? But but during the situation, they was all with it. You know what I'm saying? They was all with it, but now they all acting like it wasn't that good, and they don't want to be bothered with you, and you're annoying them, and you're stalking them when like they was stalking you, like your phone, they was blowing your phone off the hook. You know what I'm saying? You finally get over there, and everything looked like it's good and great, and then after that, even though during the situation it was great, but then like a day or two later, you might try to follow up, and they acting like you bothering them and shit. So that's that Uranus retrograde. It come out of nowhere, but it's also power star ups and downs with the family because this is your fourth house of family. Cancer is teenage to adult education, land and property, real estate, family and ancestors, the heart, vehicles and travel. And whatever woman raised you when you were young, that's Imom Coeli. And that's best seen by the moon in Cancer. But that's Imom Coeli in the fourth house. Third house is short travels, short trips, publishing, real creative with Gemini, real mental person is very intelligent, communications, and young children education. Second house is ruled by Taurus, possessions, value system. And finances in the second house. And your first house, again, the Aries energy. Aries rules that, but that was all about the Leo ascendant. And again, in the 5th house, same thing. You see how you keep seeing that number 14? And then you see the 15 again. So now your 5th house with Neptune retrograde is the escapist. And this with Sagittarius in the 5th house, this could be telepathy. This could be a person that's tapped into higher dimensions, even higher locations in the solar system. And your good fortune or part of fortune is at 10 degrees, and that's kind of like the blessings of Jupiter. That's the wheel card, which is Jupiter energy. Sixth house, Capricorn. Again, the 6th house is ruled by Virgo, all about health, healing, service, younger children, small animals, subordinates, and co-workers. But with Capricorn, it's almost like turning a home into a business. But that's your vertex. So this is your fated event. This is your destiny. It could be your soulmate, or it could be your twin flame or twin soul. But you got 20 degrees there, which means it's going to be some type of judgment. Whenever you got Aquarius in the 7th house, that's not going to be a traditional relationship. So that could be anything. Remember, anything with Uranus or Aquarius, they want to do it their way, whatever it is. And if you are in a relationship with like Aquarius in the 7th house, they, no matter who you are, they really ain't like, don't be calling me all the time, or don't think just because you call me I'm gonna answer the phone, and don't keep asking me why and I pick up the phone and all that. So it's kind of funny. So anywhere on this chart where you see obsession, like where Scorpio or Pluto is and stuff like that, and the 7th house is only going to make it more interesting, because in the 7th house he's definitely making it perfectly clear that I don't really like to do traditional relationships, and I'm going to move the way I want to move. I'm going to do what I want to do. Eighth house with Pisces. But like I said, you always got to be careful of water signs in the 8th house. But again, this is a highly psychic person. And then there you have it, 9th house, that Aries, because I told you got an Aries Sagittarius connection. And so now you see it, because that Sagittarius is at number 14 with the Temperance card. So Aries in the 9th house is some type of aggression to 9th house matters. And those type of people can think they're just doing their thing, but they're not. because somehow they're trying to push the process out the way. So they have to learn how to slow down, be patient, and accept the process. 10th house, Taurus in the 10th house. Taurus in the 10th house, again, is all about that money, gathering the money for the second house. And in this position, Taurus is going to be somewhat stubborn. So, Mars and Venus are unique because Mars is going to represent the masculine energy, could be somewhat passionate. The female is going to represent the Venus energy. But it's not over yet because then you have to find out what the Taurus got to do with all of that. So first thing you want to look at is what they're saying about Venus conjunct Mars. And remember, this is the 10th house of careers. And again, you see 20 degrees. So once again, it's still dealing with that 20 degrees of judgment. And this is good. This is Astrology King, Jamie. He's really good. He's an astronomer, but he also does astrology. So Venus conjunct, come on. All right, just a moment. Get some on my nerves. All right. Sometimes, like I said, it's difficult when you deal with this stuff because you got to watch everything. You take your eye off 1 second, like you'll be typing and it'll come up in auto complete, and you figure you got it, and then it'll be some other planet, some other stupid stuff. All right, now this is Venus conjunct Mars again. This is Jamie, astrologyking.com. Venus conjunct Mars in a natal chart has a profound effect on relationships, but your intense passion can influence all areas of life. Your strong desire for love and affection means that love relationships take up much of your time. Your sex drive and need for intimate relations can sometimes cause friction between relationships. All right? Your strong desire for love and affection means that love relationships take up much of your time. Your sex drive and need for intimate relations can sometimes cause friction within relationships. Your level of intensity may be too much for a partner to cope with, and people with this conjunction often have many marriages or affairs. It says finding a new partner comes easy for you thanks to your high degree of sex appeal and magnetic attractiveness. Flirting would be most enjoyable, but you must remain conscious of the effect of an existing partner if you wish to maintain a long-term relationship. The ability to attract other people means you shouldn't be popular in social settings and with the public in general. This public appeal often comes in useful. So they're saying if you were trying to have a long-term relationship, if you flirt, you could risk ruining it because like they're kind of saying flirting for you is almost like going for home base. Like some people flirt and they don't really necessarily want to go more than flirt. Some people do, some people don't. A lot of people do it on a DL. So a lot of people do a whole lot of stuff if their partner knew what they was doing. They'd probably break up with them or beat them up or some crazy stuff. But there are people that some people just flirt, but they have no intention of going any further than flirting. But they're saying if he flirted, it's a done deal. This guy. All right. So they're saying if you learn how to, if this dude learns how to do social media, say he would be popular. They said he could just work off social media. He wouldn't even have to work a job if he didn't want to. And they say he's also a good goal-directed person. They say they'll have also have a strong work ethic. This person's creative, passionate, and he could have a wide range of achievements as long as he markets himself correctly. So Mars conjunct Venus or Venus conjunct Mars means that how you relate to the opposite sex will depend greatly on your relationship with the parent of the opposite sex when you were young. All right. So you got that. And that's all looking good. It's still judgment though, because that's still Pluto energy. Number 20 is the judgment card, Pluto. But see, that could be death, resurrection, and highly sensual. See, when you got Taurus, it's highly sexual with Mars, And Taurus is already a very attractive sign, so he can't go wrong for what they're primarily saying. And you even got Chiron for healing there. So that's the 10th house. Now the 11th house, great communication. You got Mercury and Gemini, so that's gonna be great creation, great communication. And this is the 11th house with Aquarius energy, with friends, association, gifts. Can't go well, can't go wrong with them, and they're also being blessed by Jupiter. All right. Now, it looks like you'll do good with people, but they said you would do good with social media. See, your 11th house, that's social media, that's ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So they're saying in that 11th house, you'll do good. All right. So before we do your 11th house, because I'm looking at that Karmic, number 29. So you got the sun sign in Cancer. Cancer and then, so we already said what the Cancer rules the 4th house. We already explained that. So let's just look at the sun in the 12th house. Okay, we're still looking at the sun in the 12th house. So sun in the 12th house, a person is going to go deep into those watery emotions, dreams, subconscious mind, because that's what the 12th house is all about. So this person is going into that unseen, invisible dimensions of life, and then they're pulling all this information out, but for the collective. This person will be very creative. So their solar mission they have here on Earth will be mystical longings and aspiration. So their path may have to do with healing and self-acceptance. So he's going to be dealing with issues of privacy, seclusions, and silence. But through all this, he's going to be artistic, creative, talented. But he will need, because the 12th house is all about isolation, solidarity. But they can use that time out to study their dreams, feelings, and fantasies. And this person may enjoy dance, music, art. And like I said, he will be psychic. He'll have mediumistic ability, but he's going to have to develop it further. So when you're dealing with the 12th house, you're dealing with the collective unconscious. And they start talking about the ancient past and psychic history. And it's funny because he said many things in the past, particularly in the family legacy. And that's exactly what this guy has. Cancer, which is the family, the 4th house. His 4th house is in the 12th house. But that is ancestry. So that's very interesting. Because all I said was sun in the 12th house. I didn't say nothing about the family of Cancer, but this person already knew. And I'm at the astrologyplacemembership.com, sun in the 12th house. So this also deals with places that are hidden and secluded, institutions, monasteries, asylums, prisons, and usually really any type of building. So these things will seep through this person's self-expression. And this person is going to be dealing with this sense of isolation and blocked powers of expression. So this person may be found getting involved in situations where their efforts are hidden behind the scenes and unknown to the public. So they keep talking about family and now family karma. And that's exactly what Cancer in the 12th house will be dealing with. This person will have enormous psychic sensitivity, which may cause them to try to numb this powerful feeling with alcohol and or drugs, addictive substances, addictive substances. But even then, a lot of people get high or drunk, still trying to reconnect to the unseen world. And of course, we advise against that. This person is going to feel like it's unfinished business in the past. So because of this placement, he becomes a highly sensitive, but also a mediator. So he might even be an empath because you're dealing with that Pisces, Neptunian energy. So he possesses an innate connection with the deeper and larger ocean of the collective unconsciousness and all that it contains. So he's going to be a beacon of light for people who feel neglected, unwanted, and unloved. So because of this, he's going to be trying to get involved with healing fields. And again, that's what you have YouTube for, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter. You can set up your platform right there and start healing these people, and at the same time, you'll be healing yourself. He might find himself in therapy, medicine, hypnotics, creative visualization, occult studies, music, or painting. He may be powerfully drawn to those areas. But he may deal with a period of self-doubt, poor self-esteem. He may feel he doesn't deserve praise, attention, or acknowledgement. So he has to work on developing self-esteem. Then somebody wrote, the sun is in hiding in your 12th house, and I will wager you will not feel like being a party animal. You will most likely find yourself doing a great deal of searching. And I just like to add that sometimes these people really do, they still go out, but they still feel that way inside. Because in the 12th house, you're dealing with internal. So a lot of times these are people that you're actually around. You just don't know how they really feel. They could be isolationists, but they don't have to be isolationists. So I just wanted to add that. And remember, Leo is a sun sign as well. So Saturn will act like a time clock. Because Saturn at some point is going to push this person out. And on that other one, they said about Saturn return. So really all you have to do, because I do give that definition, or you can go right to a search engine and say, what is Saturn return? Because I did go over all that in the video that's on the spiritual channel. It was just placed there just a matter of minutes ago, actually. Sexual Death and Rebirth, Twin Flames 2019. So that's going to deal with Saturn return, because that chart was similar to this chart. Like I said, when the universe sends me these things, it sends me them in batches. So again, like I said, so that's one of the reasons why you have Vesta in your first house, because she's the priestess. She, like, your first house is really helping you with your 12th house, but that's what I told you. Basically 2 time zones. And the reason why you keep seeing 1414, that's Sagittarius energy, temperance, because they got to bring that out. It's going to be the divine masculine, which could be symbolized by the sun, blending in with the divine masculine, symbolized by the moon. So again, your 11th house is good communicating with the masses, friends, association groups, the community. It's Aquarius energy. It's money there. And again, it's showing you your moon, which is good because 18 degrees is the moon card. And it can be dealt. And Gemini means dealt too. Now, who's going to doubt who? Does that mean that the people are going to somewhat doubt you? Or does it mean somehow you're going to doubt? Or it might even mean you're dealing with their doubt. But both Gemini and the moon, 18 degrees, deal with doubt. But you do have 28. Ironically, your Mercury is 28. 28. That number 28 can mean like not really balanced. It's not really, it should be balanced, but it's not. But ironically, because Gemini is the twins. But I'm just curious as why your Mercury is 28 degrees, 28 minutes, 28, 28. See, one thing you always have to remember when you have gifts, even if, let's just say you're a little messed up, because we're all a little messed up. All of us got something we need to work on. But you always got to remember, if you've got the gifts, you still got to go. That's why I want a really good movie with Star Wars. Because here was the universe picked Luke Skywalker, and he wasn't ready to fight nobody. He didn't know how to use his powers and all that kind of crazy shit. But even though he didn't go, the main reason why Luke went to fight to where they was fighting was his father. Because he knew his father was Darth Vader. He was trying to save his father. So it was love at the was the reason. The pinnacle of what Luke did was to save his father. And it was kind of funny because his father had become this wicked, brutal murderer, Darth Vader. And it's funny for anybody that came from a dysfunctional family or you had issues with your father, you had to resonate with that movie, especially when Luke did get his father to turn back to the light side. So what I'm trying to tell people is it's just human nature, which is kind of good because it keeps you humble. But it's human nature to always go, oh, I can't do it. But it's all in your chart that you can do it. And that's why I tell people, instead of talking all this talk, all the crazy stuff, set up shop. Because a perfect example was Pink Pineapple Tarot. If you could go back to her early days when she started, she didn't know she didn't know she was sitting on a gold mine. This was a female sitting in a dark room doing tarot cards. But she resonated with the people. Little did she know she was going to blow up like she did. So the faster you get moving, the faster that what you think is a weakness becomes your strong point, not only for yourself, but everybody around you. And again, that's what made Luke Skywalker great, was the fact that even though he wasn't ready to beat the Force, he knew he was the chosen one. And he was going anyway. And the reason why, and this is how the universe works, the only reason why he went was in hope that he would save his father. Because if that wasn't a motivation, Luke wouldn't have went. Because he was no match for the Force at all. And you got to remember, it was not Luke Skywalker that beat the enemy. It was Darth Vader turning and then turning on that guy and throwing him out and killing him. But Darth Vader did that to save his son. So the universe really works like that. It's always like somebody's in control and it's a written story. And that's why when you think, oh, my twin flame hurt me, or why did my twin flame do this to me? What did I do? Sometimes you just got to stop singing the blues and realize it's a greater reason. But you have to get up and get moving. And ironically, Mercury goes retrograde on the 28th. Ain't that crazy? Mercury goes retrograde this month on the 28th. That's why I say the universe is always on time. We get impatient and we think, oh, why is it taking so long? Why? But sometimes that's what I try to say in the last video that I just did, the one that's on the spiritual channel. I just put it there now. I started that video of telling people you're gonna have to learn how to be quiet, trust the universe, and stop all that silly impatience and negative thinking. Because you're not hurting nobody but yourself when you do that. Now give me a moment because I definitely want to find what it said about the 28 degrees. All right, give me a moment. I'm still looking. All right, I think I got something. Now we got to look up the word mutable real quick. Mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Remember, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. But these are flexible signs in the zodiac. They are always subject to change and they go whichever way the wind is blowing. But remember, if you remember what Bruce Lee taught you, that's what he meant. That's what he tried to tell you. Become mutable. Like whatever you put the water in a glass, it becomes a glass. You put the water here, it becomes that. Throw the water in the cold, it becomes ice. Whatever you do to the water, water gonna keep becoming mutable. People with zodiac signs in the mutable category will drop everything when you need them. But it's a double-edged sword. But they say mutable signs are usually the first to be unfaithful or deceptive. Now this is elsa.com. And she's talking about Gary Cooper and a scene from the high noon. So she says that depending on what's there at that 28 degrees, it could mean a clash. And that's kind of what I was trying to tell you. Because there's something doubting in your 11th house. But see, Aquarius and Gemini have one thing in common. They don't want to go deep. And they love their freedom. Now, we'll get to your Lilith at 29 degrees. And she is retrograde. See, what I'm trying to tell you is like Luke Skywalker. Because he had to deal with doubt. His own doubt. But you best believe nobody that was really down with Darth Vader's team thought that Luke Skywalker could really do anything. I mean, even if he was to go back and watch the movie. And a lot of stuff he was doing was just like he might have said he wanted this one thing to happen, and that one thing he wanted to happen didn't happen. But what did happen got the job done. Inconsequential or something. That's the word. Because I'm trying to tell you that that's the whole vibe I'm getting off your 11th house. It's almost like you're going to be supported, but there's still going to be a measure of doubt, your own self-doubt, and maybe some of the people who are supporting you, but they still got this doubt too. But the one thing you have in common with them is you're one of them. So that's why they vibe with you. It's like a frequency thing. So it said if you have planets around 28 degrees mutable, again, we told you what the mutable signs were, you probably already feel queasy. So that's why Elsa said. But now we got to figure out why she did what she did. But she didn't fully explain it. I'm going to read you exactly what she said. She has a scene from a Western movie called High Noon with Gary Cooper. Now this is what she says. This was for something that happened on June 19th, 2014. Now why is June 19th big? For anybody that's melanated that knows a little bit of history, June 19th is a big day for us. Had to do with the recognition of the abolishment of slavery. So it was kind of funny she picked that day. So she says the sun will conjunct Mercury at 28 degrees on Thursday, the 19th of June, 2014. The moon in Pisces will square the conjunction at noon. So it's going to happen right at noon. Exactly in my part of the world. Because she's from the West. And remember, I just told you that's where it was. It was in Texas. And she said you can see what it looks like here. Now, if you want to see what that looks like, go to elsa.com. Just find Sun, Moon, Mercury at 28 degrees, mutable signs, or whatever. You should find it. You can click right on that link. She said, but being that I am from the West and a cowboy girl at heart, you can also see what it looks like in the still picture. And she said, that's Gary Cooper and a scene from the high noon. So it's going to be egos, emotions, moon. So they're almost kind of warning you that you're actually going to be trying to help people who dealt you, but you're going to be down yourself. But that's any. Think about it. That's any hero. One of the best movies that came out of Western, if you want, since you want to talk about Western movies, was Monty Python. Is it true what they say about black men? Oh, it's true, it's true. When you heard the zipper come down, that shit was funny. But that's what made Monty Python, Mel Brooks. But Monty Python, he was funny too. That's what made Mel Brooks so great, was he was willing to challenge the Nazis, because he was Jewish. The Nazis in World War II. He was willing to challenge racism with the black guy. Blazing Saddles was what it was called. And what was so funny about the Blazing Saddles was O.J. Simpson actually used that move. When they was coming to kill a black guy, he pulled out a gun and said, "Oh, y'all get back. Y'all get back. I'm going to pull this trigger." So he was threatening to kill himself if they didn't back up, and you saw all these white people backing up. And he was able to get away, which is crazy. But O.J. did the same shit. Said, "Oh shit, O.J. took a picture. He took a page out of Blazing Saddle." I seen that shit. I was dying laughing. And that became the national chant. Every time we see somebody running from the cops in the hood, we would go OJ, go OJ. Now, I'm not joking about what he allegedly did and stuff like that, but a lot of that stuff was funny as far as the whole thing. And me personally, you got to understand, a lot of stuff that goes down in life is Freemasonry. And coming up, when I came up, I had a lot of people around me that made fast money. And the more I heard the account, because you know I study everything, what I got out of it was this. As crazy as it sounds, but that night before he was leaving, because he was leaving LA that night, he made one phone call. And in my opinion, that phone call was to his drug supplier. Now, when he was out going to get the drugs, whatever went down around the same time. But when he came back, the reason why he did all that sneaky stuff, because he wasn't ready to leave. He didn't want the chauffeur to see him, and he had his shit with him. And even the chauffeur said he brought that box to the car. That's his drugs. And he said he almost forgot it. But people that are high do stuff like that. And he said when he said to OJ, what about that by OJ got real protective? Like, no. But that's what you do when you a fuck. You look, that's your shit. That's your drug. And he said he got crazy with it. And then they was like, they could never find out what happened with the box. Like, yeah, because he did his drugs. So that's how I always saw that. But again, a lot of stuff you hear is Freemasonry. You know, you're only going by tell-eye vision, telling lies. But if you just use a little common sense, and I'm not taking up for the dude, but if you just use common sense, even they said that's how he proved. That's how his lawyer was able to prove that he was innocent. To brutally murder two people like that, and really have no blood, no witnesses, no nada. And that's why his lawyers say he's one of the most famous people in LA. And nobody saw him, like no witnesses went on. You don't hear two people getting brutally, because whoever did it basically knifed two people to death. So when you think about it, I don't know. But I know because I hung around people who sold that. Everything he did was what an addict do. Make a fast phone call, but you ain't get on that plane. And back then they didn't check luggage and all that like they do now. That was way before 9/11. So you do stuff like that. You make that phone call, you make that quick run, you come back, and if you ain't ready to leave, you are gonna jump your own fence and do, because you don't want this dude to see you, because you trying to go upstairs and get high and shit. So that's what it seemed like to me. But again, I could be wrong. But it just didn't sound right to me. So a lot of times when you see like melanated people cracking jokes, you're like, oh, why could he crack a joke like that? It's so Mercer. But we know a lot of that shit they say is a lie. You know, it's like when they be slamming down that shit talking about guilty. You know the dude ain't guilty. That's some bullshit. So we just be like, we call it like when I used to hang out when I was young, this is what I used to wear. Word is bond. Like you heard Biggie saying he used to wear stuff a certain way with a hat to match and shit. That's how we used to dress. So I always knew about kangaroo courts and stuff. Now back then I was smoking weed. So what I did, And even in recent years, I try to keep a pair. I don't got none on me now, but back then, the sneakers I was wearing was called kangaroo. Let me tell you why I wore kangaroo sneakers. All right. Now, wasn't nobody wearing no kangaroos because you seem stupid. But I'm making a point. I was always making a point. Now, I'm different. I'm an intellect. So, okay, I wasn't wearing no whatever name brand sneakers was back then. I ain't touching none of them. But I wore kangaroos. First off, I wore my kangaroo hat that had a pouch to put my weed all in my house and the paper all in my hat. Did the same thing with my sneakers. So my sneakers had pockets. So I put the weed in there, put all my smoke up in there, and I was always hanging out. So what I would do, I'm the only dude around wearing kangaroo sneakers, but for two reasons. First reason, I was representing kangaroo courts. How if a melanated person went to court, dude was always guilty. You know what I'm saying? Anybody else go to court, they get off, they get pre-trial intervention or whatever they was getting. They always got a smack on the wrist, it seemed like. But if one of us went in court, it was always guilty. So I said, man, that's a kangaroo court. So I started celebrating that shit. That's some fake shit. But that was my way of saying I'm still gonna live my life. You know, F them. Don't nobody care what they talking about. And then I was always hanging out. And most of the time I was by myself. So I was always in other people's territories and other people talking to women and everything. And I wanted people to know it was me. So when you left that kangaroo, they be like, yo, who the fuck? Oh, that's that nigga that wear them kangaroo sneakers. He the only one that wear them kangaroo sneakers and shit. So I always was live. Even when I was little, I was always on point. So that's why I said when you drop it, you got to believe in yourself. And that's why I come out here and do what I do as much as people oppose it. Because they don't want the truth. They want me to talk to them like they babies, but they grown adults. And they want me to make this fun and easy. But life ain't always fun and easy. It's going to be challenges. And that's why they telling this dude in his house that you got to be the beacon. Because all these people will have the same type of doubts and things you have, but you have the gift to heal them. So you got to be strong enough to use it. You got to be the Luke Skywalker. So that's what it is. Now we're going to look at this number 2828. And give me a moment. Because when you watch those movies, they didn't always believe when the hero would come, and they didn't always believe the hero could beat the bad guys and stuff like that. But just like Luke Skywalker, the hero goes. See, the hero comes from the tarot cards. That's the fool. And plus, if you understand the journey of the hero, that's what that's about, going through self-doubt and betrayal and everything. But you gotta complete it. And you have everything you need for the universe to complete it. But you gotta focus on that and not focus on, oh, I can't do it, and focus on people that told you you couldn't do it, or people that hurt you, or people that should have been there for you, but they failed you. And that's the hero's journey. Angel number 2828. Angel number 2828 is a powerful number resonating with your personal spirituality, your inner strength, and your ability to command authority and attention. Angel number 2828 is a number that gets things done. Focus on what it is you really want to achieve. Success depends on your attitude, your way of thinking, taking affirmative action, and taking responsibility for the outcomes in your life. Have the desire and intention. Make the decision to take action, then do it. Take a leap of faith and trust that your inner guidance system will lead you to the right direction. Lead you in the right direction. Angel number 2828 also encourages you to be open to new avenues of income. Now you see Jupiter is right there. So it said be open to new avenues of income. What's that new avenue? When a guy starts out on YouTube or wherever he's going to start out to actually get to his soul purpose, which we're still going to look at. We're going to look at his true north node and stuff like that. Said a new avenue of income, and you see Jupiter right there telling you you can't fail. A different career path or a new line of work or employment. If you have been feeling the urge to begin or expand, and funny they should say expand because again that's Jupiter, a spiritually based practice, career, and heart-based service, now would be a great time to take positive action in that direction. So again, when you got YouTube and all that, you can start like that. And I'm telling you again, that's what Pink Pineapple Tarot did. She came out here, she was just a card reader. She never knew she was going to blow up like she did. Trust that the angels will ensure that things will go smoothly for you and that all you need will be supplied so that you can successfully serve and fulfill your life purpose and destiny. Acknowledge your true spirituality and always use your talents and abilities to their fullest. In other words, don't be afraid. Use your mind, strength, and courage and step into a new state of perception, understanding, and growth. And that's why I told you about Luke Skywalker. Now let's go back to the chart. Mercury at 2828, conjunct Jupiter. And Lilith always deals with inner pains, inner uncertainties, possibly inner desires. So somebody said Lilith at 29 degrees. They said on Libra. Indicates rivals in your social life that you will have to face eventually. But it's kind of funny. They said the bad position is the sun at 29 degrees Aquarius. Well, you do have a sun situation on your chart, but it's your Libra that's at Aquarius, not your sun. So they said, but it could fool you though. Sun at 29 degrees Aquarius could make you take your inner desires as realities. So either way, it's kind of, you can still use that information. That you have to get to a point where you can separate your inner world, your inner you, from what's really going on. Because that Lilith deals with internal. Lilith retrograde is internal. She's very repressive. Right, so now let's study the 29th degree. So that's 29 degrees Gemini. It denotes the end of a mental cycle. Natives seem mentally overwhelmed or bored. Unfortunately, an end of relationships with siblings, cousins, or neighbors is indicated. And if that's true, see in your third house, Libra's right there. See, your third house is about siblings and neighbors and stuff like that. And Gemini rules your third house, but you see the moon, the sun is right there. So remember, the moon is hidden And Lilith is called the dark side of the moon and stuff like that. Black Lilith, Lilith. And that's your true north node too. So you may have a relationship situation, but that's going to push you to be more apt to help the people in the 11th house. Because see, your third house is also about brotherhood and people and stuff like that. And then you got the 11th. Because I know, like in the early 80s, that's what I did. That's what really pushed me into religion and stuff like that. Because I was actually dating. I had a female. And then that all went to hell. And then I was just really depressed. So I was like just trying to ease my pain, becoming way more religious and trying to clear my head. So at that point, let's just say everything would have been great. I probably wouldn't have became that religious. Not at that time. So your 11th house and your third house are working together. And it's all about Mercury and Gemini energy. And then the reason why Virgo's in your money house, because Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. So by you staying on course with your life purpose, you will see the money. Now your life purpose is right there with that horseshoe. True North Node. And again, it's third house. It is relationship. But see, Libra is not just relationships. It's business contracts. It's the law. It's open enemies. Cemeteries. Karma. Courtrooms. So that's where you start, your true north node. But Pluto is going to cause that to transform. Pluto is going to cause that to die, to rebirth again. And that's your true north node, your present life, your life purpose. And then when you go straight across to the 9th house, that's past life. Aries aggression, but not just Aries aggression, but also Sagittarius energy. More long term, more aggressive because of Aries energy, past life, present life. Things are more short sighted, but it's more transforming. It's almost like saying in the past life, it was more you. But that's what Aries says. Aries says, I am. In a past life, your South Node was more you. But your life purpose is more people and places and the brotherhood and probably even family too, which is your sun sign. And then thanks to whoever taught us that, but your whole 12th house is really about the family. Because the sun and the 12th house. And the universe is helping you with Leo energy to be bold enough to do it. And Vesta, see, Vesta is Sagittarius too. See, because in your past life, your South Node is Sagittarius energy, the 9th house with Aries. So Vesta is trying her best to help you become a Luke Skywalker, to be courageous. That's that Leo energy. your ascendant. And also to balance out, to fight Saturn, because Saturn could make you bossy. See, they don't want you to be bossy. So Saturn's in your first house. This is all time. Everything is time. You're like, I'm a Leo. Because they're waking you up to that lion that you are. And they're showing you that it's nothing to be afraid of. And again, I'll tell you the same thing I told the other person. A lot of messages came out in the last few days. Well, mostly yesterday. Because usually right before I do a chart, the universe will send me all these messages. But one that I think is saying to you is this. Because both of y'all charts are similar. Say in the same location too. Same city. Same location. Same city. But where I shop at early in the morning, this guy that works there, he's usually way on the other side. Somehow he got to this other side I was at. And even he knew that was, because he even said it was kind of strange. So he said something, and he's a writer and I'm a writer. We both got published books. And he basically said to me, something about the dark. We shouldn't be meeting back here in the dark, something like that. So when I left that aisle and went to the next aisle, a song came on, and the female said, I'm not afraid of the dark. That's how she started the song. So I knew it was somebody, it was a message for somebody about not being afraid. So after reading your chart, I know that part of it was a message for you. And you see your support team like Vesta. She's going to help. She's not going to let Saturn push you to be a bully, nor is she going to let Saturn stop you from getting to where you need to be. And the more you go and the more you open up to this realm, the more that realm will teach you. And even when they talk about fate, F-A-T-A, fate. Okay, well that's what, in your fifth house again, Leo energy, right? Let's make sure. Okay, that's the sixth house. It could have been the fifth house, but they moved your houses. We already talked about that. But either way, it's Capricorn, which again is career, and that'll take you to your 10th house. And in your 10th house is Taurus, which represents the second house of money. And in your second house is Virgo, which is home. Because some people, like I said on YouTube, they work right from the house and they getting paid. Like I was saying today, it's a whole lot of millionaires made millionaires by YouTube. And some of these millionaires is still teenagers. They're not even breaking 16 or 17 years old. But because they had a lot of views and knew what they were doing, or had somebody helping them, they're already millionaires. Not saying money is the only answer, but at the same time, bills do got to be paid. So your fate or your destiny, that vertex cross, again, is Pluto, but it's still Pluto energy at 20 degrees. That's Pluto. That's the judgment card of Pluto. So hopefully that'll give you some enlightenment. And again, that'll conclude this reading. I do have sales going on. You can check that out. You can always request the most recent services offered on price list. You can also look on the Archangel Revelations and Prophecy 444 channel, because I have a lot of offers there, things going on there. Also, the email is there for anybody who want to contact with any questions. To get your natal chart, really all you need to do is have your month, day, year of birth, write it out. Make sure it's so clear and understandable so that there's no misunderstandings. Time of birth, if you don't have your time of birth, the archangels can assign it. They do a great job doing that. Also, city, state, and country, if not the USA. And it's that easy to get started. All right. So that's it for now. I might come back tonight with something else. I got at least 2 or 3 more. I'm not sure if I'll be back tonight or not. Or I might just do something totally different. I just don't know. All right, that's it for me. God bless.